And welcome back to Legends of Lake Howell. Today we are here with Chelsea Smith. Chelsea, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. This is a huge opportunity for me, and I really appreciate the honor. I can't believe I was a legend. This is where I started, where everything started, and what launched me into my career and what I am today. So it means a lot to kind of have a homecoming like this.
That's great. So my first question for you is, what inspired you to become an artist?
Well, I feel like this is an answer a lot of people say, but since I could pick up a pencil or a crayon, that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been drawing all over the walls, any paper, growing up. And I did my first art show when I was 12. I did it, and through high school, what helped me is I did the pet rescue. I would draw pet portraits, so I would do art shows, and then raise the money to help pet rescues. And that's how I got in contact with all the celebrities too, to raise awareness. And I did that as part of the scholarship program for the Bright Futures. So I did a correlation with all three of them. And yeah, Lake Howell had launched my career because they did the APR program. It was really great. And I got the Dorley Russell Scholarship. I got the Bright Future Scholarship. I got to apply real world application for art shows such as the Congressional Art Award, and then the Sanford Historic Trust. I got to participate in different art shows and awards, so that was really cool. So yeah, it just inspired me. The APR course here was really involved, and it really helped me and inspired me.
Well, you're going to get an opportunity to talk all about Lake Howell and all about your favorite teachers, but you have a different type of art that you do. And I've got to read it because I want to make sure that I say this correctly. So this is copper plate etching printmaking, correct? So tell me about that. How does that work? And I see that you have something here, so just kind of
I can walk you through that. So copper plate etching, the etching technique is the specific I do in printmaking. And so printmaking, my favorite artists are Rembrandt and Albert Dürer, and these are Dutch Renaissance artists in the 15 and 1600s. So if you look over here at my printing press, this is the same technique and technology they used back in the 1600s. So that was my initial inspiration because those were my favorite artists. So through high school, I did like pencil artists. Pencil art is where it started. But what I like about etching is now it takes the fine art and the fine lines I like about drawing, but now I can put it into a plate. And if you see here, this is my press. And then I have a little step-by-step here. And you start with as far as the technique, you start with a blank piece of copper. You cover it with a wax layer. And then I use an X-Acto knife to lightly just draw through that top layer. You're not carving or anything like that. It's a chemical process. So wherever you've drawn, that's the only lines that'll etch once you dip into an acid bath. The acid is the etching part, and that etches your line. The longer you leave it in the acid bath, the deeper and darker line. So you do it in stages. Then once you're done, you can you have your blank plate here. Your lines are now etched into your plate. So it's kind of hard to see here, but once you ink it, the ink will stay in the lines you've drawn. Now the cool part is you can ink it whatever color you want, and you use any paper, you ink it, the ink stays in those lines, and then you would put it on your press. You get your blank piece of paper, and then you crank it through on high pressure. When you pull it up on the other side, you have your image, and it's pressed into paper, but it's also reversed. So now you can make multiples of any color paper, any color inks.
So all of the work that we see here, you did it with using this machine?
Yeah. Well, this is a smaller one. The one at home is about 2,000 tons or 2,000 pounds. It's huge, and it takes up half the room. So this is a smaller one that I do for smaller pieces. But if you see in all my frame pieces behind me, I include a copper plate. So you can kind of see the process, here and here. This is a full size. That way you can see the process of etching, and you can see how it prints into the paper. And I think that's interesting to display it like that, because not many people know about the process, so I can educate them on that.
So you mentioned that this was an older technique. How did you find it? Where did you find the equipment?
So I did. I went to Seminole State on the Dorley Russell Scholarship and the Bright Future Scholarship. So I stayed local. I went to Seminole State, and that's where I learned the etching technique. And my favorite artists, like I said, are the Rembrandt and the Albert Dürer. So I had that as my reference point. And then when I took the class and I fell in love with the process, they did have all the equipment there because everything's heavy duty. There's acid, there's oil-based inks, there's mineral spirits. It's like I have to use goggles and hazmat. Like I have to be careful. I got gloves. Like everything is like crazy. So I did all the equipment they had there, and then over time when I was doing the shows, like I said, when I was starting with like 16 in high school, I would do the little shows. And I didn't start with anything fancy or big. I just had my table, I just had my prints, my little like chair, and then I would go out to the wine art walks around town from 6 to 9, sell my prints, and then over time, like I would sell more prints, or however long I would get enough money to get another table, get a bigger tent, and then over time, through college, as I got bigger and bigger, and then like my business got bigger and bigger, I was able to eventually get my own press, and then all my big giant 2,000-pound press, and like get all my equipment ready and kind of have a home studio. But it took doing it like through art shows from scratch to build up to that.
So you mentioned earlier that you did like pencil art.
Yes.
So how did you evolve into this? Like how did the art come to something like this? What did you, there's just one day you saw someone doing it, or what? How did this come about?
So the pencil art was my first love. I love detail. As you can probably tell by all my pieces, I'm hunched up like this. It would take me 100 hours or more. I've always been like that, very meticulous, perfectionistic. I'd be like this. What I love about pencil is the detail. I love detail. What I love about printmaking is it takes what I love about drawing and it expands on it. With drawings and pencil drawings, you get a 1 of 1, and that's it. You do your pencil drawing, it's grayscale or black and white, and then that's it, you're done. With etching, now I can take my love of fine art or fine lines and then put it into the copper plate. And now you can experiment with any kind of paper. You can do black paper, silver ink like over here. You can do any variation of paper. You can do sepia. So it takes the line art, but now I can do any crazy colors and papers with it. It kind of takes what I like and makes it funner. And I think it's cool because it kind of keeps alive the etching printmaking technique. What Rembrandt did is kind of dying out because of all the technology we have. There's digital art, we have printers, so this technique's kind of dying out. So I think it's cool to keep alive the technique that my favorite artists use in the 1600s alive today.
So let's take this piece here.
Yes.
How long would you say that it would require you to complete this?
It could be up to 100 hours or more, like I said, because of technique. I'm very meticulous. So when you're etching, it's not that you just go through the process. You have to wait a lot. So you'll like dip in your acid, wait an hour, take it out. So it's all that. And then even the printing process, like if you see that one's multicolor, I have to hand ink it. That could take up to 30 minutes. So like it might take 100 hours for a plate, and then it will still take, up to 30 minutes or more to ink and then print it after. Yeah, so it takes a very long time, but I love it.
So when you look at a piece like this,
Yes.
What inspires you, or what do you think about? Do you say, like in this case, this is a ram? Do you say, well, today I'm just going to do a ram, or just like what inspires you? What do you think about? What goes through your mind when you decide to design a piece or create a piece? So
right now, as I mentioned before, because I love the old Renaissance masters, I also think I'm really interested in history. So all of my pieces right now are based off of mythology. And my first series is behind me. I have my Celtic mythology series. My grandma's from Ireland, my mom's from England, so I used to spend summers there, and it was like a way to kind of look into my my history and kind of look at all the mythology in Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. And so different mythologies, I like to take really old mythology and kind of make it new, just like what I do with my medium is I take something old. And just looking at your art, and you have quite a bit here, do you have a favorite? Of all the work that you've done, do you have a favorite? So it is a hard question because they all mean different things. But right now, I really like my lion right here. That one's my current favorite. The one behind me was the first one I ever did to start off. It was my first etching I ever did, and it was the first one to start off my series. I won the Mount Dora post art with this piece, so it's very special. It's my first one. It's what helped me got to the next level. And then also I have to say Aries because I'm an Aries. So basically these three are like my top three right now.
So it looks like there's a combination of, you know, your inspiration from your family, but also you mentioned that you love history as well. So there's a lot of background that goes into this. And in looking at your site, you have like quite an array of people who buy your work. Tell me about the people who buy your work. Is it like just regular people, celebrities? Tell me about that.
Yes, it's a little bit everyone. So as I mentioned before, when I was doing the pet portraits, I initially did that to help raise money for Pet Rescue by Judy and Pet Rescues. And I was able to do pencil drawings and then sell it to people at shows, and then it would raise money. I could help out. And then as I was doing it, I got contacted by Disney Feature Animation. They were inspired by my work. And then I got into the newspaper, Orlando Sentinel. They did an article about me. It spread the word. Celebrities got a hold of it, and they wanted to get in contact with me. They wanted artwork, but they also wanted to help out with the pet rescues. So that's been really cool. I've had people like Adam Ant, Duran, Boy George Culture Club, Johnny Marvelous Smith, the Goo Goo Dolls, Rob Thomas of Matchrock 20, Deacon Lockman. There's so many, Peter Max, a lot of my heroes. So that's been really, really, really cool. Like, I can't explain what that's like because these are my heroes. So getting to work with them or give something, share to them what they gave to me and to help a bigger cause has been really rewarding and very cool.
So let's talk about like the first time that you sold like a piece. What was that experience like?
Yeah, so that was always been my dream growing up. I would go to all the art shows around town and go, this is what I want to do. When I was 12 and I did my first art show at it was near the Orlando Museum of Art when I was doing the pet stuff. It's been really, I can't explain it, right? Because it's like something you always dream of. You do art your whole life. You're in your bedroom a lot, like when you're doing art or music or any creative field, and it's very personal to you. So you kind of forget about the outside world. So when you're creating it, that's the creative process. But going out into the world and interacting with people and then seeing how it affects them and that it's more than you. Like, you create pieces and it means something to someone else. They have different stories or they have personal, like, oh, like my name's Bear, this is my house, or like this, I'm giving this to my granddaughter. Like, they have personal stories that it takes your artwork and then it kind of, you know, brings happiness to other people in different ways. And it's very like moving to like see, like, you know, like how it moves other people and getting to interact with people.
So the first time that a celebrity contacted you, or your favorite celebrity, how was that? What was that call like? Was it kind of surreal? Did you think it was them? What was going through your mind at the time when they called you and say, hey, I want to purchase one of your pieces?
It's like, that's like takes everything to the next level, right? Because these are people you're fans of and you look up to, and now they're coming to you and you're like, wait, no, I should be coming to you. Like, this is so weird. It was so crazy, but it's heart-stopping. It's just so like exciting, and it's like what they've done and what means. Like, again, I feel like when I'm giving art, like I just told you, and have people now, it's like they've given me that, and now I get to give it back. So it's so exciting and like unbelievable that happened.
Now, you mentioned quite a few names, but I think you forgot one.
Oh,
President Obama.
Yes.
You did something for him.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what did you do for him?
So I did a portrait of his dog, Bo. I did that in high school, actually, too.
Really?
Yeah, when I was at like Howell. I sent it off, and he absolutely loved it. And he sent me a letter back, and that was very, very, very cool.
All right, so now we're going to switch to your time to talk about Lake Howell, because we're here in the art room at Lake Howell where all of this started.
Exactly.
So if you could describe your experience at Lake Howell in one word, what would you select? What would you say?
Oh, wow. That's a very hard one.
Or two words, or just describe
Inspiring. Inspiring.
Okay. How so?
I feel it's crazy sitting in this chair because I've been in this room. I haven't been in it in 13 years, but this is where everything began, and it just grew my love of art, and it's where I started. I got inspired because I had so many opportunities. I had so much support. There were so many opportunities for me I learned all new art techniques. I got to do my first art shows.
Well, did you do any other activities in art, or did your art teacher, Miss Rivas, keep you locked up in the room?
No, yeah, that's what so like, as I mentioned before, the Stanford Trust, I got to do like real world art competitions and real world art shows. So I did the Stanford Historic Trust. They did a competition for like their poster art of like artwork about Stanford, and we all got to like, you know, compete in that and like create a piece and submit it to be judged, and I won first place for that. So that was my first like real world art award. And then for the congressional art competition, we also got to submit for that, and I was a runner up, and I got to like meet the Congress people. My art got to be in there in DC. So I got to do real world applications. For field trips, we got to go to Ringling in the Salvador Dali Museum. We got to see artwork in museums. We had to do a portfolio review at a college, so I had a real world experience of looking at it, like you know, the next steps, like, hey, this is what it's like, how to fix your portfolio, talk to professionals. We got to take a class at Ringling, so we knew what it was like to take a class in college. We got to learn like life drawing. So we got to do like a lot of real world things as well as like doing the learning part in school. The school very like helped me for like a lot, because I got to do I got the Dorley Russell Scholarship for fine art too. So like there's a lot of opportunity here and things that I learned that got me started.
So I can see why that was inspiring, because you had the opportunity to use real world applications to what you're doing. So I have to ask, did you have a favorite teacher? And if so, who was your favorite teacher?
Oh, you know, this is so hard to say. I have to pick two. I can't pick one. I love Rivas, and then Miss Mears. Miss Mears? Yes, those two.
You know, for some reason, I thought you were going to say like your math or your physics teacher for some reason. So this year, our theme is preparing for greatness. What does greatness mean to you? What does that mean to you when we use that term greatness? What does that mean to you?
Oh, wow. That's it's a huge word, right? It can mean so much things. Greatness is, I believe, it's not so much about what anyone else thinks. I think it's greatness is being able to chase after your dreams and make your dreams become a reality. Like whatever you love in this world, whatever your goals are, if you love art, if you love music, you love sports, it's chasing that dream and like continue to do that and the love of that and keeping that love alive, and then being able to make that dream come true throughout your life.
So when I came in, I saw quite a bit of when I entered the room, I saw quite a bit of your work over here that you did in high school. If you could go back in time, what would you say to Chelsea, who's in maybe 9th grade, who's 14? What advice would you give her?
Wow. That's such a tricky question, right? I feel like everything I learned helped me get to where I am today. But I was always so determined, and I was so single-minded towards my goal. So I guess I would tell her that, like, you made it. Like, you got to do. Sorry if I get teary. You got to do the shows. You got to meet all the celebrities. You got to do art shows, which you always wanted to do, and you got to accomplish everything you ever wanted.
So, last question. That's great.
Yeah.
And that's very inspiring, and that's why you're here, so that you can inspire our students and just encourage them that if there's something that they enjoy doing, that they can just stay on that track.
Yes.
So one last question for you. If I'm interested in purchasing your work, where can I find it? I know that you have an art show or something that's coming up soon.
Yes. So I do have a new website, artbychelsea.com. You can follow me on social media too. It's Art by Chelsea or Art by Chelsea Smith on Instagram, on TikTok, all those. You can follow me with my process videos. I mainly do art festivals right now. So all the ones locally in Selma, Orange County, like the Altima Art Festival coming up, like Sanford Art Festival. I stay local, and if you follow me on there, I'll post where I am. So I'll be doing those. I mainly do all the art shows around town. Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
I actually have one present for you too. I wanted to.
You have a present?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We like presents.
I have a surprise for you.
Oh boy.
I made this just for you.
Just for me?
Yep. All right. I got you original piece of artwork.
Oh, wow, look at that.
It's a copper plate etching. And I did the school logo, and I did it in the school colors for you. So now you can see the process, and you have an original piece of artwork.
So we'll make sure that this goes in the front office. So it's not just for me, but we'll share it with everyone. First, because it's great, and we like it, but also because it's someone from our school who did the work, who sat in the classrooms here, and we are happy to know that we made a difference and an impact in your work.
Yeah,
so thank you.
I appreciate that. I want to give back to you guys for everything you did to me, so I'm glad I could do that for you. And thank you for everything and this opportunity. It's been absolutely amazing, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.